What's up, y'all? It's your girl Renee. I'm in the kitchen today with Miss Andrea. The reason why we're bringing you this quick video is, you know, I'm always talking about clean eating, clean cooking. Miss Andrea is like the bomb cook. So today she's going to show us how to do a great dish. It's like a bunch of ingredients, but it's like, you know, chicken, quinoa, vegetables, and it is delicious. So let's take it away, Miss Andrea.
Hi, everybody. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to quickly prepare a quinoa bowl. I have 1 tablespoon of olive oil that I'm adding, and once that gets a little warm, I'm going to add a medley of peppers. This is red, yellow, and orange peppers along with a little bit of zucchini. So we're going to throw that in the skillet. Let it start sauteing real good. Make sure your skillet's nice and hot. You're going to saute those around long enough to get them done, but not quite totally all done. Now right here I have a little mixture. It's a 4th teaspoon of Lorry, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of basil, fresh basil, and also a teaspoon of onion powder. And I kind of dash half of that in and kind of stir it into the vegetables. You want to make sure your skillet stays hot because you're sauteing them real quick. Because you don't want to overcook them, because this is going to make 2 helpings. And what I added was this was a whole cup. So when you finish with this and you divide it in half, you're going to have a half a cup of this vegetable medley mixture. Now also throw in a cup of fresh mushroom into the mix. And we just keep stirring it until it gets done. But not quite. You don't want to overcook it because you want your vegetables to still be a little bit crunchy. So I just keep stirring them around and make sure they get a little done there. And sometimes I have to chop my mushrooms up a little bit, but I prepped all of this prior to today. Yesterday I spent the day cutting up and prepping all my vegetables for the whole day, or really for the whole week, so that when I get ready to make my omelets and things like that in the morning, all I have to do is just grab them out of the refrigerator and everything's all ready. So now we're going to add, now this I have 2 cups of spinach, and the reason I use 2 cups of spinach is because it shrinks up really, really small. As most of you that eat fresh spinach know, when you cook it, it's going to shrink up. So I'll just throw it in there and just let it start cooking, and then I'm going to take the remainder of my little seasoned medley here and throw it on top. And just throw it around in there and mix it up and just let it continue to cook. And while that's cooking, you just keep stirring it around. And pretty soon your spinach is going to start to shrink up, and then once it starts to shrink, then you can add the quinoa. And the quinoa is already prepared, and I know a lot of people have difficulty figuring out how to cook quinoa. It's very simple. For every cup of quinoa, so if you have a cup of quinoa, you would have 2 cups of water. Normally what I do is I put it on the stove, I let it come to a boil, and then I turn it down on simmer and put a top on it, and I let it simmer for about 20 minutes, and then I cut the heat off and just let it sit. And it's basically pretty much how you cook brown rice. So it's not really hard. You just have to make sure you let it simmer long enough, but then don't overcook it. So if you follow the directions on the package, you should be okay. So you can see now that the spinach is starting to shrink up. It's going to take a little bit, this skillet, I probably should use my bigger skillet. But this is going to be 2 servings, and so with this, for every half a cup of quinoa that you eat, it's about 115 calories. So you add that into whatever vegetables you're putting in there. You can use whatever vegetables you want. Broccoli, cauliflower, is real versatile. So now you see where my spinach is shrank. So now I'm going to add the quinoa. The other thing about making these bowls, make sure your quinoa is cold. And the reason for that is because if you use quinoa and it's warm or just finished cooking, once you start stirring it in, it's going to get mushy. So that's the key to cooking any kind of dish with rice. If you are going to do a stir fry, cook your rice the day before, or if you're cooking it that day, stick it in the freezer and let it get cold, because if not, it's going to make your rice dish real mushy, and you don't want that. So now we've added in our quinoa. I'm going to throw in my chopped up chicken that I cooked and prepped yesterday. Now, right here I have 2 tablespoons of light Italian dressing and a splash of hot sauce. But you can pretty much make whatever, you know, little marinade you want. So I add that in there. And then I just stir it around and make sure everything gets stirred in real good. And you can see it's like a real quick dish. And as you can see, it makes a lot. Once you add your vegetables in and your meat, that's why I said this is really more than 2 servings. But as far as the quinoa is concerned, that was a cup of quinoa. So if you want to have a serving of quinoa and you don't want to overeat it, you want to stick to about a ½ cup per serving.
So this looks delicious.
So you can taste it, Renee.
I can have some of that.
I see you looking all hungry-eyed
absolutely.
and dangerous looking.
So y'all,
yes.
I just want you all to know this is the bomb dish. You got your protein in there. You've got vegetables. You got a good complex carb. Check us out, guys. FitWithRenee.com. And this is Mrs. Andrea Johnson. Keep it clean. If you want to reach her, reach out to her about the recipe, or even, you know, maybe you can get her to fix it for you. Andrea Johnson on Facebook. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye guys. Have a great day.